Some call me an idealist, or maybe a political activist. I supposed that would be a good title as any. Like my father before me, my life, there's always been some cause, some issue of the day, and it was always stirring my heart into action, even before I learned to put my feet into motion to act. As a young man, it seemed that my head would write checks at my body, as my daddy used to say, "Son, you just can't quite cash." So when I was in my 20s, I was hurt really badly in a traffic accident. Being a man at my prime, for the first time in my life, my once sturdy legs would not move me. And my sturdy back to lift heavy loads had vanished as quickly as a morning mist upon a chilled northern wind. I was bankrupted and eventually ended up living in a storage building I was renting. By this time, my drinking had alienated my friends, at least the ones that had remained, despite my skill of driving the loved ones away due to my zeal for impossible ideals and incredibly difficult causes. The seizures and the epilepsy didn't help much. For some reason I still can't quite fathom, in my hour of poverty, an elderly gentleman took me up as his own, to live in his home, to heal. And in gratitude I continued working for him as my strength slowly returned. And for the first time in my life I saw something in my character might possibly actually be redeeming, despite my own mother's saying I was a waste of oxygen and an accident. A few years earlier, when my grandmother lay on her deathbed, she urged me to go back to college. I admit it puzzled me at the time. I had a good job. But she said, "Shut up and don't insult me that way." I was startled. She said, "I'm a farmer's wife because when I was a young woman, that's all I could be." But she mused, "There will come a time in your life when you will want to make a living with your head and not your back." With an arrogance born of youthful indestructibility, I had that complex, you know. Understanding did not come, not then anyway. Only till a mere matter of months came by that her words became ironically prophetic. I was hit by a car, almost died. It's just more than I can handle. But that's when I met Shorty. Shorty put his wife and baby daughter on a Greyhound bus heading where west is. After 3 days of hitching and walking, he joined them not long in the little town of Merkel, Texas. Standing only 5 foot 1 inch tall, Shorty Lemons is the biggest man that I have ever known. Because even though I did odd jobs for him, when I got hurt and lost everything, he invited me into his home. See, all my life, folks told me that I was no good and what I wouldn't amount to, though honestly, still don't know why. He saw something in me I can't honestly say I do. So it only seemed right that I helped out this 90-year-old man after his lawyer, then a city councilman here where I live, who had embezzled and raped this man of his life's work and dignity. And the Republican for 70 years had door after door shut in his face. Guess they had just clean forgot about how in his lifetime he donated over $1 million to the grand old party. And it's funny, the DA's detectives said our lawyer friend was their fishing buddy, and if I didn't shut up about it, they'd do something to harm me. But I guess where I come from, you don't mistreat a woman or malign a man, and you don't stand by and watch somebody else do so. So when this fat cat lawyer came up for election again, well, I was obliged to give a shot of getting Crook out a go. But here in Abilene, Texas, I guess a good lawyer knows the law, but a great one knows the mayor, the DA, and the judge. Because apparently our lawyer friend also knew the media, and when I ran against him, wouldn't allow the elder abuser's past to be brought up. Even though when I was beaten up in my own yard, they didn't bring up that either. I guess they're at least consistent, right? So I guess to all of you still wondering why an activist would run for public office after hearing my story, I guess there's not much more I can say to you. But you see, friends, that's not the end of my story, though. Because after I lost the election, the local fat cat arranged for me to brought up on those trumped up charges. I have a court hearing tomorrow, in fact. You see, I didn't own my own home that I rent. And since I didn't pay my rent in a barter arrangement I had with them for years, they said I couldn't use that legally as a residence, and therefore I lied and committed a crime. I've been waiting a trial for 2 years now. The Texas Ranger investigated, even said and testified, in fact, that he believed me innocent of any crime. Note that this lawyer is the state's star witness against me. In that trumped up case, I still don't have a lawyer to defend me anymore, because the one that I've been paying for a year, time and money ran out. So if you want to call me a fake poet, that's fine. But I do have one question for all of you. Would you risk your freedom to exercise your right to protest those who abuse the world's less fortunate? May I ask what you've done lately, other than maybe speak for a crowd? In the end, sure, I respect good art. I really do. But without action, in my book, talk is cheap. And my microphone's more than been paid for with my blood, sweat, and tears.